Welcome to another exciting episode of the Entrepreneur Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Kofi Animedu. Today, I'm excited to sit down with someone whose message is as impactful as his journey, Darryl Bumpass Sr. Darryl is a self-investment speaker, certified life coach, and an Amazon #1 best-selling author with over 3 decades of experience in entrepreneurship and leadership. He's on a mission to help entrepreneurs master themselves first because when you lead yourself well, you lead your business even better. Darryl's books include You Need an Income, Not a Job, have inspired thousands to shift their mindset, create multiple income streams, and build lives rooted in purpose and power. In this episode, we'll talk about self leadership, staying motivated through uncertainty, building wealth with intention, and what it really takes to show up fully for your life and your business. Get ready to be challenged, inspired, and equipped to take action. Let's welcome Darryl to our show. Welcome, Darryl, to our show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me. Thank you, Kofi.
All right, so let's start from the beginning. What really inspired you to go into this journey of entrepreneurship and self leadership?
Well, I have to give it to my grandfather that owned a my family owned a tobacco farm several years ago. And when I was little, I would see him getting up every morning and preparing the tobacco, which was their product, for sale. And I just saw the work ethic. I saw the freedom that he had, so that he can get up and be able to create generational wealth for our family, for our lineage. And I also had the privilege to be around my uncle and several other people in my family, and I realized that the mindset of a entrepreneur compared to the mindset of a employee was totally different. An employee believes that they need a job to survive, and an entrepreneur realizes that you need an income to survive.
Well spoken, well spoken. So you often use the term self investment speaker. What does self investment really mean to you?
So, self investment to me, Kofi, and great question, I might add. Let me just tell you, share what my experience is with self investment. Some time ago, I woke up one morning and I looked in the mirror, and the left side of my face became paralyzed, Kofi. And it still is, maybe 5% has been healed. I thought I was dying, Kofi. I thought I was having a stroke. And what I realized that my mind, my body, and my spirit was telling me, you need to be still. You need to be still, and you need to invest in yourself. And if you don't take heed to what it is that we are telling you, because this, my friend, is only a warning. This is what my spirit was saying to me, Kofi. This is a warning. My spirit was telling me, Kofi, that we have so many big plans for you. We need for you to be still so that way you can see the dreams that we have that's going to manifest in your life. But I was doing so many different things, Kofi. I thought that I had the world by the tail and not realizing that it was only a minor things that was occurring, that it was just a preview of what was coming for me. But I thought that was it. I thought that was the icing on the cake. And so to speak, for lack of a better word, I began to feel myself. I knew it all. I thought I had it all, and I also realized that just when you think you know everything, you realize you know nothing at all. So my left side of my face became paralyzed, and my spirit was telling me that you need to get yourself together. So from that point on, I never looked back. I also saw my father, who was dying of cancer, of lung cancer. And we was in the hospital, Kofi, and he looked at my mother and he looked at me, and he looked at my mother and he looked at me, and he said, Mom, Mom. And He was calling his mother, Kofi, who had already passed away, who had already preceded him. And he looked at my mother and he looked at me and he said, Mom, Mom. And I said to him, Kofi, the family is going to be okay. And he took his last breath and it shook my world. It shook my foundation. My best friend, my hero, was gone. So what I'm going to do now? My best friend, my hero, is gone. What I'm going to do now? The question I asked to God was, I know you hear me, but are you listening? What I'm going to do now? What it made me realize, what I believe the answer that was presented to me is, you cannot take life for granted. You cannot take time for granted. So it was in that moment when I realized I need to shift my mindset and I need to start investing in myself. It was in that moment when I created my 4-step self-investment method. And if your listeners are listening, I would employ them to write this down. My 4-step self-investment method is: number one, have a plan. Have a plan. Benjamin Franklin says, if you fail to plan, you plan to
Plan
fail.
to fail.
Number two, eliminate your distractions. I ask my clients these 2 questions, Kofi. What are your goals and what are your distractions? You cannot reach your goals until you eliminate your distractions. Number 3, execute your goals. Execute your goals. Number 4, which is one of my favorites, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way and start investing in yourself. I am certain when they implement these 4 steps, they will have a huge impact on their personal and professional life. So, watching my father take his last breath, my face becoming paralyzed and being stressed out over life, made me shift my mindset into investing in myself.
All right. So, Darryl, thank you so much for sharing this with us. So like you just mentioned, you are very big on self-leadership and also mindset. But why do you believe that mastering oneself is the first step to entrepreneurial success?
So, there was a movie some time ago with Superman, right? Superman was, Lois Lane was in the helicopter, and the helicopter crashed into the building, and Lois Lane was falling from the sky, Kofi, and she was saying, help me, help me, help me. Somebody please help me. And out of nowhere, Superman swoops her up and grabs her and says, Lois, I got you. I got you. And Lois Lane looks at Superman and says, well, if you got me, who got you? If you got me, who got you? Becoming an entrepreneur, you have to begin to master your own mind. You have to begin to understand the power that you have within. Because if you don't, you will allow other things to distract you from your goal. You will allow other things to distract you from being focused. And it's imperative that they understand that grinding, and most entrepreneurs, you always hear them say the terms, repeat the term, I'm grinding, I'm grinding. Let me just say that I would employ them to stop using this word, because grinding is activity. Focus is productivity. Grinding means I'm just busy, I'm just moving around. But focus is productivity. Focus is when you begin to see things start to manifest for you. But the only way you can be focused is you have to eliminate your distractions in order to become the best entrepreneur that you visualize yourself as. So self-investment, self-mastery There is no way you can become the best entrepreneur in the world, have the best company in the world until you visualize it first. As they say, see it, then believe it. And then once you practice this, then you'll start understanding and realize this is just muscle memory. Everything that I'm doing is just muscle memory. And you start realizing that I start eliminating these distractions. And your distractions can come from family, distractions can come from food, distractions can come from friends, distractions can come from TV, social media. So it's imperative that you eliminate these distractions in order that you become focused on your goals. Now, a lot of people may not understand the focus that you're about to
Yes.
step into, but that is not your problem. That is not your problem. My father always said, I will show you better than I can tell you. Right?
Mm.
So I'm going on this journey, and this is an open letter that people can write to their friends and family or whoever it may be, but I am going on a journey. I do not know where this journey is going to take me. If you are here when I return, I appreciate you. If you are not here when I return, I appreciate you. But I am going on this journey. And sometimes the journey, the boat that is being provided for this journey is not big enough for you to bring everyone. And not everyone will understand it. But that's okay, because in the end, they'll understand this is what he was doing. Now I understand what she was doing. Now I understand her purpose. Now I understand her gift. Now I understand her talent. Now I understand why she had to master herself, master her mind, and invest in herself in order to start investing in others. And that is the whole goal. The things that we are doing, the entrepreneurship and everything else, is to be of service.
Mm.
And we cannot be of service to anyone else, whether it's an entrepreneur, until we can be service of ourselves. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help anyone else. You want to be a great entrepreneur, then put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can assist others with their oxygen mask.
All right. That's profound. So if you want to really help others, put on your oxygen mask first before you reach out to the others. And these are nuggets from my guest Darryl Bumpass Sr. Darryl, let's still dwell on what you just said. You've talked about focus, you've talked about also mindset. Now I want us to spend time talking about the how. So how do we stay focused? How do we really work on our mindset? Can you help us with some practical steps we can take?
Great question, Kofi. You know, life is easy, we make it hard. Life is really, really easy, we make it hard. And the best way to answer that question is just two simple steps: meditation and prayer. Meditation and prayer. Now, I'm sure there are some of your listeners and viewers that may be looking for, this huge answer, or this answer that can give them great impact. But that is it in a nutshell. It's meditation, and there is not a day that goes by without me waking up and incorporating. It is truly my fiber. It is truly my routine that I meditate and that I pray. Now, in addition to that, I also focus on my mental health, which is aligned with that. I also focus on exercising, walking. Maybe some people may run. I prefer to walk. I walk about 5 miles a day, and then from there, I swim for about a half an hour. So these things are what's going to help you become the better version of yourself. But let's just say someone's not able to walk 5 miles a day, maybe 1 mile or 2 miles, or maybe they may be disabled and they can't do these things. But we all can meditate and we all can pray. I have no doubt in my mind, no doubt in my mind. I've seen the things that have manifested in my life that was miraculous, and I can only contribute to my praying and my meditation.
All right. So, Darryl, you've also spoken about the importance of showing up for oneself. What does that look like in daily practice?
Yeah, again, I reiterate, it's making sure that so we have to be careful of what we say, what we do, how we speak, what we listen to, how we talk to others. Because I say to my clients is that you have to be very careful of your words and your actions. You have to be very careful of your thoughts because your spirit is listening. Your spirit is eavesdropping. So how we show up for ourselves daily become our subconscious. So how we interact with one another. Every thought is a prayer. Every word that we speak is a prayer. So we have to be very intentional with our words and with our thoughts. If I think it in my hand, I believe Michael Beckersworth said it, I believe. I may be pronouncing his last name wrong. Forgive me if I am. But he says, if you think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. This is how you show up for yourself every day. Your thoughts. Every thought is your prayer, is a prayer. Every word is a prayer. Every word we speak is a prayer. How do we show up for ourselves? Making sure we are controlling our thoughts.
I want us to spend some time also talking about your books. You are an author of so many books. I want you to tell us about the books you've written and the motivation behind or the inspiration behind those books and what message you intend to send with those books.
So again, my first book was a once I lost. I'm sorry, not lost. Once my father transitioned, right? Once my father transitioned, I began to write in my journal. And I can hear this whisper say that someone needs to read this. Someone needs to hear this. So we turned the journal into a book and we turned the book into a bestseller. So each of my books, I have about 5 books now, 5 bestsellers. And each of my books is a journey, is my journey from the first book to the last book. So the first book was me speaking about how I was able to cope with losing someone that was so dear to me and how it made me realize again, you cannot take life for granted. You cannot take time for granted. And that was the first book, which is I Know You Hear Me, but Are You Listening? And this is me speaking to my spirit. This is me speaking to God. And I continue to mention God, but I hope I'm not offending any of your listeners or so, but this is just my human experience, right? So the second book is We Need to Talk because again, I felt the need that I needed to speak to myself about the journey that I was on. So the books are pretty much a conversation that I'm having with myself along the journey and the transitioning that was occurring throughout my life, even up until present time. And the next book was Mr. and Mrs. Distraction. As I mentioned in the 4 steps, is eliminating distractions. And that's how I came up with that because Mr. and Mrs. Distractions can come in all forms. People may think that distraction is from maybe a person, but no, it could be because maybe you had a bad experience or Mother Nature came and attacked and we wasn't expecting that and now this is a huge distraction for someone. But how do you deal with this distraction? Do you sit and dwell on it or do you move forward? Martin Luther King Jr. says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward. So with Mrs. Distraction, anytime that they are trying to attack our lives, what we have to remind ourselves and repeat to ourselves is that we have to keep moving forward. No matter what it is, no matter how big or how small it is imperative that we keep moving forward.
Mm.
And the next book
Keep
was How to Become Motivated in a Pandemic, which we all know that the whole world was dealing with something, and I felt the need to inspire others so that way they wasn't feeling a huge distraction, which was a huge distraction for us. And the last book, which is You Need an Income but Not a Job. You need an income but not a job. Stop waiting and start creating. You need an income and not a job is pretty much based on Too many people believe that you need a job to survive, which is so far from the truth. We need an income to survive. So we need to stop waiting for a job and doing doing searches for careers. Instead, we should be searching for incomes. How do I create an income and a sustainable income so that I can make money while I sleep? So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you have. You have. And I'll still want us to delve deeper into some of the submissions you've made. So let's start with you talked about one of your book, the book you wrote during COVID. So I want us to talk about how we can handle periods of uncertainty like we had in COVID. During periods of uncertainty, what mindset do you think it's important for us to undertake and to stay grounded and also to stay focused?
Great question. So first, every day is uncertainty. We live in uncertainty every day. No one can guarantee you what is going on, what's going to happen tomorrow or in the next minute. So every moment is we live in uncertainty. So if we can understand that, we won't be so surprised when things occur, when these things happen in our lives. And how do we respond to that? The best way I respond is that it's all temporary. It's all temporary. Nothing lasts forever. It's all temporary. And it goes back to, I reiterate what I just said, is keep moving forward. It's all temporary. I don't know too many things that people can say that this has last forever. I don't know too many things that have last forever. It's all temporary. We have to shift our mindset. I'll shift our mindset from recovering to discovering. We are constantly discovering. Instead, people are always in the mindset of recovering. I'm recovering from this. I'm recovering from that. I'm recovering from this. No, we are discovering. So the next minute, the next hour is a new discovery. So while we're in our homes, people feeling as if they are being held prison during COVID because they were not able to do the things that they love to do, which I understand. But you have to look at that. Well, how does this become an opportunity for me? How do I turn this into an opportunity? You know how many entrepreneurs was created during COVID because they looked at it as an opportunity.
Okay. All right. So you also advocate and you mentioned it earlier on for the need for us to build multiple income streams. So for somebody starting out, what's the best way to begin?
Oh, great question. So one of my favorites is real estate, right? Ghana is a real estate boom right now. Anyone that's listening that they're listening from Ghana or throughout the world, that's one thing about real estate. You can go into real estate anywhere in the world. You know, you just learn the business. Now with real estate, which is one of my favorites and the space that I prefer. But before I touch on the real estate, let me just touch on some minor things. You can do something as YouTube, right? Creating a YouTube channel such as yourself and going into the YouTube space. And I believe YouTube pays someone maybe the 21st of each month. I'm not really sure if that's still the same, but you can create a YouTube while making an income, right? If someone has a home, they can go to certain companies that will lease their homes or rent their homes for photo shoots or for movie locations or influencers or social media influencers that may want to use your space just for that. So that's another income that you can create. So there's just various incomes that you can start with a low risk and high reward. Low risk and high reward. Now, to go back to the space of real estate, with real estate, you can go in, for instance, in some states, I don't know if it's the same in Ghana, but you have what they call tax liens where people may not pay their property taxes. And because they haven't paid their property taxes, most of the times they're abandoned properties because someone in the family just decided that they don't want to deal with the property any longer. Maybe it was a relative that may have passed away and the survivors are not interested in handling it. And it may go into the rears with property taxes. So you can go and purchase that property just because of the property taxes. They're called deed auctions or redeemable deeds or deed auctions or so on. You can purchase the property right there. You may have what you call the people may purchase duplexes, tris, quads, and they may acquire it by subject to, where you end up acquiring a property for someone that may have fell in the rears. And some people may say, well, that's not the right way to get properties for someone. But listen, you didn't create this situation, but you may be able to help the person where you are providing a service where that you can take over the notes for them and help them not let their credit become harmed, where they can move forward again, hence move forward into something that's much more beneficial for them. You have what they call a DSCR loan. DSCR loan, debt credit service ratio. I don't know if they have it in every state, every country all over the world, but I can speak to the United States. The debt credit DSCR loan, debt credit ratio, what they're based on is not your tax returns. They're not based on your bank statements. They're not based on your W-2s, your verified income. It's only based on the what the rent will be. So let's say, for instance, you purchase a property for a great example. You purchase a property for 100,000, right? And the note on the property is the mortgage on the property is, let's just say $500, right? The property that you are renting, you're renting it now for $1,000. So that means that 500 out of that 1,000 is covering that loan. So they're not concerned with and the credit score I would have to add has to be above 620 or 660, most companies. And the minimum that they usually loan is 100,000 in most cases. They would work with you in some cases, but the majority of them is 100,000 in most cases. So these are different avenues that you can enter the real estate business with low risk and high reward. Most people think that they need millions of dollars, thousands of dollars to enter the real estate business, and it's so far from the truth. What I would suggest is that in any business that any entrepreneur is about to enter, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence before diving into any business or so, and understand the industry. I believe it's Albert Einstein says, learn the rules of the game and then play it better than them. So learn the rules of the game of the business that you're about to enter, and I'm pretty sure I will see you at the top.
All right. Yeah. So earlier on, you talked about the fact that a lot of us are stuck in jobs or the job mindset. What are some of the common limiting beliefs that keep people stuck in the job mindset?
Well, security. They believe that they have security, job security, and that is so far from the truth. No job will guarantee you security. Jobs are focused on the bottom line. So if that means that they have to let you go tomorrow, they will let you go tomorrow. So it's not their responsibility to make sure that you and your family is okay. It's your responsibility. Just so happen that you end up having that job, getting hired with that job, and it's giving you, a pretty good payment, not an income, a payment, because the income is, you'll receive an income regardless of whether you're there or not, right? Say, for instance, a pension or something like that. That's an income. But a job is you're getting a paycheck each week or every other week or so, once a month or whatever it is structured. But a lot of people are afraid of taking a leap of faith, and they believe that generationally they saw their parents work for 30 years, they saw their grandparents work for 30 years or 40 years, and they believe that this is the norm, when that's not really the truth. The truth is that you're supposed to make sure that you are creating some type of safety net for your family and generations to come. And the key is to continue to build generational wealth for you and your family. Most people are not going to be able to build generational wealth by working a job. Now, I'm sure I may have some critics to say that's not true, But I believe, it is my opinion, that you will not create generational wealth by being a employee. Being an employer, yes, because you are the owner. So it's imperative that we shift our mindset to being a owner. Ownership is the key. Ownership is the key. But most people feel that I have this job. This job is guaranteed. I have a guaranteed wages. My friends, my colleagues are all here. I know everyone here. This is my life. This is my life. There are so many people that refuse to even retire at the retirement age because this is all they know. This is their
So
identity.
yeah.
But the minute you will realize that most people believe that it's their comfort zone. But what I tell my clients is that 90% of the time your comfort zone is lying to you. So get out of your own way.
All right. So Darryl, you've been in leadership and entrepreneurship for decades. So what has changed the most, and what timeless principles still hold? Still.
That is really a great question. That is really a great question. I feel that you have to be honest with yourself. This holds true from the beginning of my journey until present time. When you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with others. When you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with others. With this freedom, your behavior is a reflection of your freedom. So you ever go into a store or a business, and the person that you first meet, you may feel attacked by them, or even on the phone, you may feel attacked by them. And you say, I don't even know this person. Why would they attack me? I just came in here for this product and that's it. Or I just called up about this product. Instead of mirroring their energy, I now realize that their behavior is a reflection of their freedom. And this goes back to your last previous question. They may feel so mundane or so much stuck in this rat race of this job or this career, they are venting and projecting onto you. But the minute that they can become honest with themselves and understand and hold this to be dear, that this isn't working for me, this is causing stress, my hair is falling out, I feel like I'm always in a financial hardship. The minute that can become honest with themselves, they can become honest with everyone else. And that's what I subscribe to. I had to become, and I am honest with myself now, so that way I can always be honest with others.
So we are just about wrapping up, but you've been on this journey for a very long time. What lessons have you picked up? Lessons you would like to share with us today?
A great question, Kofi, and I appreciate you having me here. Believe me, you have no idea. You are one of the reasons my heart smiled today. So I thank you. I really thank you. So what I feel is you have the 40 40 40 40 rule, right? The 40 40 40 rule for my entrepreneurs and anyone that is listening is we work 40 years, 40 hours a day, 40 years, and we retire with 40% of our income. This, my friends, is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. We have to shift our mindset from working harder to working smarter. And how do we do that? By implementing the 80-20 principle. The 80-20 principle consists of focusing on 20% of our activities that will create 80% of our personal and professional growth. This is the 80-20 principle. If we can follow this principle, you will see so much of growth in your personal and professional life. You will be astonished by the things that will begin to manifest for you once you implement this 80-20.
Interesting. So before I sign off, what will be your pieces of advice for my audience before we wrap up? We sign off.
Well, I would say this. As I stated before, it's pretty simple. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Have a plan. Have a plan. Eliminate your distractions. Execute your goals and invest in yourself. There are three things that is hard for most people to say. Number one, I love you. Number two, I'm sorry. And number three, I need help. Number three is the most important. Ask for help. Help is available. It doesn't take a weak person to ask for help. It takes a very strong person to ask for help. So whether it's in your personal or professional life, ask for help. Help is always available to you, especially because help can always come from within. I say this and I will leave these words with your viewers and your listeners. I believe it's Warren Buffett says the best investment you can make is investing in yourself. I believe Maya Angelou says people forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So today, I hope I made you feel better than you did before listening to myself and Kofi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darryl. Thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur Speaks podcast. Your story and insights are a reminder that entrepreneurship isn't just about building a business, it's also about building yourself. Thank you so much, and we wish you the very best. So, this has been another exciting episode of the Entrepreneur Speaks podcast. I'll come your way next time with another inspiring episode. I remain your host, Kofi Animedu. As always, do take good care of yourself and let's continue to keep hope alive. Cheers.